Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to a very special Christmas Eve Crypto Warehouse stream. We're early, it's 10 o'clock, but for those of you that might not celebrate Christmas, or for those of you that are not overly interested in eating mince pies at 10 o'clock in the morning, we are here for you. We're going to go through a Christmas-themed show today. We're going to go through some Bitcoin bubbly, Matic Mash, $1 million roasties, turkey stuffing, Nigerian dessert, 2024 gravy, and then we're going to finish with a books quiz. I know, it's Christmas, forgive me, what can you say? Good morning to those of you that are watching, good morning to Hidden Agendas, good morning to all of those that are in chat. A big Merry Christmas to you all. I hope whatever you're doing, wherever you are having a good time. Good morning to Emmy. Who else is in here? Sui is here. Good morning. I can't go through all the messages. But, Feliz Natal, Anonymous. Yes, Feliz Navidad. Fran, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Right, I'm just going to tell you one thing now. We're not rushing through this show. We are going to try and get it done for 11 o'clock. I have some Christmas presents to wrap. I've got to get the Christmas Eve boxes ready. But that doesn't mean we can't have some crypto. Especially, as you can see, it is Cryptmas. So what are we going to cover? We're going to start off with the markets. Let me have a look. Sorry, I've missed one. Rick, good morning, Rick. Merry Christmas to you. Irinka, Merry Christmas. I do apologise for missing them off. So let's get started. So let's have a quick look at the charts. Market cap, 1.67 trillion, up 1%. Volume is down, as you would expect. The next couple of days, we're going to see really low volume. And that can lead to one of two things. Really high volatility, because a lot of markets are closed, a lot of people are on holiday, or absolutely nothing. We could be at 43,800 in 2 days' time, or we could be at 48,000. It's just one of those days. So just bear that in mind. If you are going to dig into your Christmas turkey, expect to have your phone pinging, especially maybe tonight, heading into tomorrow morning. We could see some volatility. If not, maybe the 27th, 28th, when people start to come back. We shall see. Bitcoin dominance, 51%. ETH dominance falling by the wayside, as I say all the time. Bitcoin dominance, I do expect a huge pump in Bitcoin at some point between now and the end of the year. And maybe Bitcoin dominance hitting 52%. Who knows? So Bitcoin, it did have another run up at 44,000. We're not going to look at Bitcoin today in terms of price, or are we? I think we are actually. Yeah, we're going to look at the price action of Bitcoin. That's the first thing we're going to look at. Mina is up an awful lot, and Solana. Now, I have chased Brogan around the house last night. I said to him, what would happen if we broke $100? Would we see $110, $115? He said that we were likely to bounce off $100 and maybe come down to 80. So if you're on our Telegram group, you'll see a nice little meme that I made of me strangling Brogan in Homer Simpson, Bart Simpson-esque style last night. I do think we will bounce off something and come down, and I think we're going to bounce off $115, and I think we're going to come down to 100 and maybe have a retest there. We shall see. Thor Chain, one of Brogan's favorites, is also up. Helium is up. Celestia, now as I've said, what I do with Celestia is I trade a range on Celestia. I haven't done it because it's Christmas. I trade and sell at $14.50, and then I buy back in anywhere between $11 and $12.20, around that area. And that's what I've been doing with Celestia, but I haven't done it recently because the markets, it's Christmas. I'm not really interested in it. OP is up. Near is up. Pancake Swap, Polkadot, Audi, Multiverse. We've got a lot of good gainers in the last 24 hours and not a lot of losers. Pepe's down a touch. Say, but don't forget, look at the run-up of Say this year. Also 45% up on the 30-day. So a 3% retracement is neither here nor there. Oasis, Toncoin, I mean, these are negligible. In fact, ApeCoin, if you look at the year to date, I believe ApeCoin is one of the worst performing coins of the year there. Now, there's a lot of reasons behind this. The main one, in my opinion, is that they are trying to launch their own kind of Fortnite-style metaverse, and it hasn't launched yet. And I think what we're likely to see at some point next year is we are likely to see a massive pump in ApeCoin. When you see a coin underperform the market by so much, it's a sign of one of two things. Either there's no confidence that Yuga Labs are going to produce the metaverse, or that they are just sitting on the side waiting for the metaverse. At the slightest hint of a launch for ApeCoin, I would personally expect this coin to start looking upwards towards $3, $4, $5. It's just nothing's happened, and the coin is being punished because they are missing their deadlines. I've seen some of the clips of ApeCoin. It looks exceptionally well. But if you look at where we were around this level here, $5 or $6, I would expect us to get back to this range when the metaverse comes out. Now, again, with a lot of these coins, what I would also do is buy the rumor and sell the news. So if the metaverse has a deadline of the 1st of April next year, I would look to sell this coin in the last 2 weeks of March. Buy the rumor, sell the news. That's how you should trade these coins. There are coins that doesn't apply to. Bitcoin, for example, when we look at the ETFs, you probably wouldn't be wise to sell the day before or the week before the ETF is launched. But for other coins, smaller coins, I would seriously consider looking at selling them, taking the profits, waiting for a retrace, and then buying back in. That's what I would do. Let's move on. So we're going to look at the other side of mania at the minute, and that is, where could Bitcoin fall to if something was to happen? Now, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility for someone like Gary Gensler to have one last dig at Bitcoin. It wouldn't. And I'll tell you what, because he could start the year off by trying to cripple Bitcoin. So if he did that, what price could we come down to? I know lots of people are hyping this up. Lots of people are talking 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 Bitcoin. If we get the ETF and everything else falls into place as we've discussed before, that's going to happen. But where could we go if we get rejected, the ETFs get rejected. So Bitcoin could potentially dip to 37,000 if the orange coin fails to hold 43,000, according to fresh analyst shared by is that Ali Charts? As key indicators suggest that Bitcoin's fate still hangs in the balance. I don't know about this. I wouldn't say that losing 43,000 is going to bring us all the way down, but let's see. So Ali Charts on social media warns of potential Bitcoin correction, linking it directly to a sustained close below 43,200. This crucial level acts as a litmus test for the market, indicating a bearish turn if breached. But if this support turns out to hold, it could trigger a rise to 47,360. Remember, my target is 48,000, and then once that is breached, and if it is breached successfully, we could look towards 50,000. I still think we could be looking at 48,000 by the end of the year. We've got 7 days to go. A $3,000, $4,000 move is not out of the question, especially over Christmas. So Bitcoin is exchanging hands at 43.7 and has gained 3.4% over the last 7 days. We know about this. We don't need to read any more about this. We're going to go and have a quick look at the Bitcoin chart to show you what level I would look at if we had some kind of correction. Remember, we've got two fairly important levels of support, in my opinion. The first one is, of course, the channel that we've been in, and I've drawn these kind of lines here to show the pattern that we've been in on each of the successful pumps that we've had. And so far, I mean, if you kind of follow the line, I mean, we're not far off. I'm not great at drawing, but we're not far off. We're currently sitting at 44,000 according to this chart. I'm sure this chart is a different chart, but anyway, we're at 44,000, and that move to the top of the chart, which could be by the end of the year, currently stands at 50,270. The line in the sand here is 48,000. That's where we're trying to get to. But we have huge resistance at 44,000. If you look, we keep tapping, and we haven't broken it. So 44,000 has to give way. But there's huge volume here. Huge volume. Now, where could we go on a step down? So if we borrow this line from here and drag it down, that is the area for me, which is about 38,000. That would be potentially the worst case scenario, is 38,000. But just above that, we'd have to lose, I think we'd have to lose 41.4. If you look here at these levels of support, we'd have to lose 41.4 to get down that far. And that, for me, again, we're in this channel. We're not going to leave this channel without something major happening. Bad news, Gary Gensler, conflict, whatever it might be, it's going to take something to break this line. This line currently stands at 43.4. So we'd need to wick below here, and then we would come down to here, and that would be 42,000. Then the next level down would be 41.4, and then, only then, would we come down this far. So there's an awful lot of support to break to get down that far, and it would be major news to do it. But if the worst happened, then 38,000 for me is the bottom of this. But I'm still looking at 44,000. If we can break it, we are going up. Maybe nothing happens, and maybe we spend the rest of the year just wobbling along like this. Maybe it's the calm before the storm. Maybe everybody's gone on holiday. Maybe the Bears and the Bulls have decided to go and have a picnic in the park. Who knows? But I still think we can get to 50,000 by the end of the year. We're not as far away as it looks. $6,000 is only 12%. 48,000 is only, what's not even 8% away. So we've got the chance to get there. Let's see if we can do it between now and the end of the year. We are fairly bullish on the short to medium term, and obviously incredibly bullish on the long term. I think we've seen off the bear market. We might get a dip after the halving, but on the whole, I think we should remain fairly bullish. We've seen off the hard times. If you've been with us for the last 18 months, then you know that we've seen brutality like we've never seen before in crypto. Now, just let me drop. I'm going to drop the boxes now because I'll forget and then the boxes won't get dropped. So I'm just going to drop some boxes. They are slightly bigger than normal, but it is Christmas. So let me drop these. You see, what I'm wishing for from Santa Claus, I want Santa Claus to give me a spam-free chat. That's what I want from Santa Claus. I want the ability to actually read what people have to say, because I would rather hear what Tariq, Solo, Fran, I want to hear what the real regulars have to say, not Angelina Jolie, who is spamming chat with boxes and all kinds of things that I really don't want to see. Good morning, Elian. Welcome to the stream. I've got to scroll for ages just to catch comments because there's so many spams. Olga, good morning to you. I can't see anymore. Let's crack on. Right, so that's one box dropped. I'm just going to go and drop the other one, and then we will crack on. Some info about Solana ETF. That in this week, a major step has been made towards Solana ETFs. That's pumping Solana. Have you heard about it? Will you drop the red envelope? Number one, I'm going to drop the red envelope now. Number two, I spoke about the ETF yesterday with Brogan on the stream. If you were here, just let me drop these. Give me a second. And then I'll very quickly tell you about the Solana ETF. Please be right, please be right, please be right. Yes. Okay, all the boxes have been dropped. Very quickly then, what we spoke about yesterday with Solana. One difference between Solana and Ethereum is that Ethereum has liquidity. It has liquidity because it has stable coins, native stable coins, big native stable coins. And when you look at an ETF, whether it be Ethereum, Bitcoin, or Solana, it has to be a sizable enough asset to warrant an ETF. You can't have an ETF on a $1 billion market or a $2 billion market. It's got to be on a big market. That's the first thing. And that's why Bitcoin is first. That will be the first ETF. Ethereum will be the second, because all things being equal, by the end of this bull run, Ethereum should be over $1 trillion market cap. Maybe Bitcoin is at, I don't know, 5 trillion, something like that. Ethereum should be somewhere towards $1 trillion. And that's a sizable number for an ETF. Now, take Solana. And again, we spoke about this yesterday. Look at the size of Solana. It's 48 billion. For me, it's not a large enough market to warrant an ETF. What do we need to do to get Solana to become an ETF? We need liquidity. As I said, maybe Thursday last week, when you trade on Ethereum, a lot of people trade tokens to Ethereum, but also a lot of people trade tokens to USDT and USDC. On Solana, the majority of traders will trade to SOL. They don't trade to USDC or USDT because traditionally there hasn't been enough liquidity to trade to the dollar. Now Paxos are launching USDP, is it? USDP is about to launch on Solana. It's been officially approved by the US federal government of whoever that agrees on that. So Solana will have its own bona fide stablecoin. For me, that's the first step towards an ETF. The second step towards an ETF is to get Solana towards 100 to 200 billion market cap. Hopefully sooner than the end of the bull run. Imagine that we can get Solana to a $100 billion market cap by April. That's a 2x. So that puts Solana at $225. Now, if it does a 4x from there between now and the end of December 2025, that would put it at nearly $1 trillion, 800 billion, near enough. That would then be a sizable enough asset for me to consider an ETF, because the alternative for me is very simple. The alternative is that the powers that be, BlackRock, Fidelity, they create the third ETF. So Bitcoin first, Ethereum second. The third ETF, and how I would do it, is I would take Solana, XRP, maybe BNB, Cardano, AVAX now, maybe those coins, and I would create a new ETF based on a collection of crypto, rather than having a single crypto like Ethereum or Bitcoin. I'd have a basket, and that basket might have 4 or 5 coins, because at some point in the future you might want to consider adding another coin. So let's give you an example. Let's say ICP grows 30x and becomes a $100 billion market cap project, and that puts it in the top 5 or 6. If you've created an ETF solely for Solana, you can't bring ICP out. And how many ETFs do you want? You can't end up with 50 ETFs for crypto. There's too many. It will dilute, it will cause confusion. So you could create an alt basket, crypto alt ETF, for example, and each additional asset that you want to add to that ETF, you could apply for. Now, I know in America they have different rules, and maybe in America it's not possible to have multiple assets under one ETF, but in Europe and the UK you can. So maybe there is a law in America that says you have to have one ETF per token. Fine, but in Europe you can have a basket. You can have a global markets ETF, a European markets ETF. So that's how I would approach it. I would take all of the altcoins, group them together, because, for example, if you take Solana, BNB and XRP, that gives you 120 billion, 140 billion, 160 billion if you include 6 tokens. Well, that's not far off the size of Ethereum. So that's what I would do. I would go and create a basket. I hope that helps, Rick. Personally, I would think that Ethereum and Solana and Bitcoin are going to have individual ETFs, but only if Solana gets towards 120, 130. I still think, very quickly if we look at this, I still think we're going to bounce off $115. We hit $115, $116, and we've come down. I don't know. I just think, listen, if we break $115, we could be at $150 next week. I'm not going to bet against that. Absolutely not. Right, let's get cracking. So, Polygon. Now, I've picked this one because what I try to do and what I try to explain to people is that you've heard of people that chase, a lot of crypto influencers chase tornadoes, and what they do is they talk about the coin of the moment. And the coin of the moment, for example, is Solana. So they'll talk about Solana till the cows come home. I'm trying to find tokens to tell you about which are suffering. Now, let me explain what I mean by suffering. If we go down here, year to date, this is right, okay. So if we go down here, are we going to see it on here? Because this is why I picked it out. There. So look at Matic. Matic is up 11%. 11% for the year. Now let's compare that to what everything else is up. Ethereum 90%, XRP 81%. And remember, I've said XRP has had a terrible year. Cardano 150%, Avalanche 330%. Right, what's happened? Ton, fair enough. But look at Matic. Even Shiba Inu, which I didn't think had moved this year, has performed 3 times better than Polygon. So I found an article to try and explain why Polygon has done so badly. And also have a look at the chart, because I think it's undervalued, and I think there's going to be a pump in Matic at some point next year, and it's going to pump with Ethereum. Because remember, Polygon is a layer 2 that processes transactions on top of Ethereum. It's not a layer 1, it's a layer 2. Ethereum is its, its daddy, its mother, whatever you want to call it. Now, they're talking here about Polygon is going to find it difficult to survive with Solana. I don't know whether I agree with this or not, but we'll go through it. And I think there's some merit in what's being said here. So Polygon was once hailed for its scalability solutions. For Ethereum is facing a formidable challenge to maintain its position in the evolving crypto market with Solana, Rect Finance. Forget the Rectic Finance one, just focus on Solana. It finds itself in a competitive landscape where adaptability and innovation are paramount. We know about Solana. Polygon has been a significant player in the crypto space. Challenges are arising as rivals innovate and adapt to market demands. The competition presented by Solana's speed and scalability, yes. So, Solana, we've talked about it being an Ethereum killer. You look at the metrics, it's outperforming Ethereum on every single metric, every single one at the minute. NFTs, trade. The only thing it's not outperforming on is TVL, and that's simply because Ethereum has such a larger market cap. So that's a fairly quick article. Right, what I'm going to do, if you give me 1 second, I just need to answer this call. I'll be back in 1 minute. I'm really sorry. It is Christmas Eve and people are trying to call me, and I'm desperately trying to get through the stream. So, in a nutshell, Ethereum faces competition from Solana. Therefore, Matic will also face competition from Solana. But remember, this is a very big pie. There is not going to be one winner. There is going to be the biggest store of value, which is Bitcoin. There is going to be the top Ethereum chain. Maybe it's Matic, maybe it's Optimism, maybe it's Arbitrum. There's going to be Solana with its NFT projects and its meme coins and its DeFi. But there's 2 sides to this. For me, Polygon, we spoke about this last week. Some of the projects that started out on Ethereum have realized it's too expensive to operate on Ethereum and are moving to Polygon. That's not to a detrimental effect on Ethereum, because Polygon, remember, is a layer 2, it sits on top of Ethereum. And in an ideal world, if you are a project, you shouldn't be running your projects on Ethereum because it's just too damn expensive. One of the things we're going to talk about yesterday was if you had $100 to test out DeFi, to test out how to, invest in a liquidity pool, for example. On Solana, you could do Solana with Marinade Solana. You could put $100 in and maybe you get 12% APR. That transaction would cost you, if you ignore the contract, which you can reclaim, it would cost you a fraction of a cent. If you try to do the same thing on Ethereum, it would cost you an arm and a leg. It might cost you $20, $15 to do that. So out of your $100, you've invested $99.99 on Solana. You've ended up maybe getting $82 invested on Ethereum. Okay, move it to Polygon. There are no decent DeFi platforms on Polygon. Everybody uses Ethereum, everybody uses Solana directly. There's no decent Polygon DeFi platforms. It's great for NFTs, it's great for ZK rollups, it's great for everything to do with transactions. It's got amazing partnerships. Disney, Starbucks, one of the airlines. I think some of the banks are talking to Polygon. Polygon isn't going to go anywhere soon. It isn't going to go away anytime soon. But it's had its time in the limelight. All of its amazing collabs were last year. They were announced during the pits of the bear market. If they were announced today, the price of Matic would be rocketing up. Now, again, one of the last things I'll say about this is we don't redraw our charts before the streams. This is the stream. This is the chart we did last time myself and Brogan looked at it. You can see that Matic is stuck in this pattern. It can't break out. It did. What did it do? Came straight back down. It can't break 96 cents. Let's call it $1. It can't break $1. So until that changes, we are not going to see a pump in Polygon. But look at where it was. I mean, it's down at an $8 billion market cap. For me, it's wholly undervalued. At this stage of the market, genuinely, I would expect Polygon to be somewhere around 18, maybe 15 billion. So what would that do to Polygon? That would double the price. That would put it at $1.60. So where is $1.60 on this chart? There. And if you look back, we kind of touched that figure there. We've touched it here and we've touched it here. So $1.60 for me is the natural price for Polygon now. Not in the bear market. In the bear market, we came all the way down. I mean, we were really low down here. What was that? 35, 40 cents. That was really low. We've struggled, really. We can't break this level. But I think, remember what happened to Cardano? Cardano was like this, and then at 40 cents and 35 cents. And then suddenly Cardano went to 60 cents. I expect Polygon, Matic to do a move. Just because it's not being sexy right now doesn't mean it's not going to be sexy. It has massive deals. It has incredible NFT potential, especially the NFTs that I think have value, loyalty NFTs, an NFT that you hold for the long term. You didn't buy for $1,000 because it's a picture of a rock. It's a utility NFT, which gives you VIP points at Starbucks, gives you VIP points at Disney, whatever it might be. It's a great layer 2. So for me, wholly undervalued. I'm not saying it's going to go to $20 in the bull run, but I am saying it's way too low for where it should be at this moment in time. Now, we're going to change tact entirely. And I have been talking about the $15,000 to $1 million. My phone keeps going off. It's distracting as anything. A $15,000 to a $1 million portfolio. Now, I've never shown anybody this. I think we've mentioned it for the last 6 months, but we've never mentioned it. And it's the end of the year. I thought I would go through the portfolio now just to show you and explain what it's about. Excuse me. So at the start of January this year, I came up with the idea of creating a portfolio, and not a degen portfolio that invests in Bonk, invests in Pepe, invests in all of these projects. It was a portfolio of solid projects that I was going to invest in. Just let me drop another envelope here. 1 second. I'm trying to drop more of these because it's Christmas Eve. I'm trying to share the love. And you might be making your Christmas dinner right now. You might be preparing your Christmas dinner right now. And I'm out there in the background, which is great. I don't mind. At least you've got a somewhat friendly voice to listen to on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Okay, so we're going to run out of time. So the chances are what we're going to do is maybe we're going to do this article, and then we're going to probably do 2024, and then we'll do a little bit of a quiz, because there's no real agenda for today. The agenda for today was to just come on here and basically not have a chat with you guys, but be here. Just be here for you to talk to, if you like. So let me begin. So I created a portfolio of sensible coins, and the plan is to get $15,000 to $1 million and do it over potentially 2 or 3 bull runs. Not in one bull run, not take massive risks, not do something where I could lose the capital. So as I said, first week of January, I invested $15,000 into what I would consider to be good projects that would do well this year. Remember, we're in the bear market, so we have to be conservative in the bear market, but we also have to pick projects that could run towards the end of this year. So I've mentioned it before, we put $15,000 in. This number here is inaccurate because I've been staking them for most of this year. So this is actually about just under $25,000. So we've done a 65% gain this year on this portfolio, and I'll show you the breakdown of it. We bought Bitcoin, we bought Ethereum, we bought Cardano, we bought XRP, we bought Chainlink, we bought ICP, Algorand, and Polygon. They are the coins that we bought for this portfolio for this year. Next year, we are going to hold this portfolio probably until I would say maybe the end of next year. And that's when we would start to switch some of these coins around. This is not a portfolio that I am going to be changing from 1 week to the next. It's not meant to be a portfolio to hit $1 million in one bull run. The objective of this portfolio is to get to $100,000 plus. That's the objective of this portfolio. So by the end of November 2025, I want this portfolio to be worth $120,000. Then we will sell the majority of this portfolio, sell it to USDC, hold that possibly for another 12-18 months, and then reinvest at the lows. So let's say Bitcoin comes down from 200,000 to 90,000. Let's say Ethereum comes down from 11,000 to 5,000, whatever it might be, whatever the retracement is, and then reinvest that $110,000, $120,000 back into the market for the next bull run. And in that next bull run, potentially we're going to aim at $500,000, $600,000 for the portfolio. So it's a long-term portfolio that we were doing to be part of the channel, so that the channel could have something to look at on a yearly basis or a 6-monthly basis. And the reason we've picked these projects is these haven't been picked out of a hat. These, believe it or not, are projects that we based solely on about 15 or 20 different picks from other crypto influencers. So we went and basically combined everybody's portfolios, what they were suggesting we should buy, what everybody else suggested we should buy, you know, whether it be Altcoin Daily, whether it be Ben Cowan, whether it be BitBoy at the time, whatever it might be. We compiled them all and we picked a portfolio based on crypto influencers. And this is what we came out with. Now, I'm not going to go through this in great detail in terms of the percentage breakdown, but we didn't buy an equal share of each. We put the majority into Bitcoin and Ethereum. We then put a higher amount into Cardano and XRP. And then we divided, as far as I remember, we divided the rest amongst these coins down here. So this year, we made 96% profit on Bitcoin, 38% profit on Ethereum, 72% on Cardano, 50% on XRP, 126% on Chainlink, 73% profit on ICP, nearly 1% profit on Algorand, and then leading on from what we've just been talking about, Polygon. Polygon has not performed at all. Now, we are still going to keep this portfolio, like I said, maybe until the end of next year. There has been a temptation to sell some of the pumps, you know, sell Chainlink when it pumps up, sell ICP when it pumps up, but you have to remain fairly, what's the word? Not resilient, but you have to stick to your guns. You know, Cardano didn't do very well for a lot of the year. Neither did XRP. You know, Chainlink came out of nowhere. It broke out of its channel. It's pumped. ICP was massively in a loss only up until maybe a month and a half ago. So you have to stick to your guns and realize that that just because something goes down 1 week or 1 month doesn't mean it's not going to have a 3-month massive rally. There are going to be coins that you invest in, but the lower cap coin that you invest in, the less chance it has to pump straight back up. That's one way of looking at it. So we've gone for top tier coins. I've mentioned this before. I don't think I can share the link to this portfolio, but I will be able to put a screenshot somewhere for you to look at as the time goes by. But that's something I wanted to show to people, because lots of people say that that you can't make money by investing in these top tier coins. Well, I'm going to try and show you that you can. And like I say, we're up to 25,000 from 15,000. We're not even into the halving yet. I do expect this to go over 6 figures. And at that point, depending on where we get to towards the end of 2025, I will look to sell out of this, because the point of this is not to hold these for 10 years. The point of these is to hold these, end of the bull run, sell them all, hold it in cash, put that into, you know, a 5% investment for a year, and then buy back in. That's the plan. Now, we could be wrong and we go on a super cycle and we run up and we run up and we run up. In that case, we're not going to be selling anything for maybe another 3 years. But let's wait and see. I just wanted to share it so everybody could see the breakdown of this, because I've mentioned it quite a few times on the stream and I wanted to show it to you at some point. So if anything changes in that portfolio, I'll let you know. And also, I am not endorsing this portfolio. I'm not showing you this because this is what your portfolio should look like. I've done this as an experiment to see if I can turn $15,000 into $1 million. That's the point of this portfolio. Not, I have other coins outside of this in my portfolio. Like I said before, I've got AI tokens. I have some meme tokens now as well. What else do I have? I have Crow. I have a lot of Crow because I have a Crow card. I get my cash back on that. That's a big part of my portfolio. I've got an Icy White Crow card. So I have other coins outside of this, but this is just to show you where we could go. Now, as I said, we're going to snip out the stuffing and the dessert. And we're going to move on, before we run out of time, I'm going to move on to look at the 6 most important events in 2024. And we have covered these before, or not all of them, but we have covered a lot of them. But I thought it would be good to do a recap before the end of the year, because I think it's important to just very simply see what is going to happen, and why I keep talking about having all of these ducks in a row, having everything lined up for a perfect run. And I mention them all the time, and even some of the most hardened Bitcoin bears are now starting to see what's going to happen. So let's go through them one by one. We're not going to spend too much time. Like I said, it's 10:43. I don't want to run out of time today because I've got wrapping to do. So let's go through them one by one. The spot Bitcoin ETF, we know. January the 10th. That is, what's 24/7? That's 2.5 weeks from today. 2.5 weeks from today, we should have 12 ETFs approved. Now, what's very important, and I've said this on Thursday, there's going to possibly be 2 pumps. The ETF approval on January the 10th does not mean on January the 11th people can start buying these ETFs. I think it takes a month. I think it will be February the 10th before they can start offering this to clients. So January the 10th, there's going to be a pump. That's when it's approved. February the 10th, 14th, whatever day it might be, when it goes live, we will hopefully start to see a pickup in the price of Bitcoin. So that's the first one. I'm not 100% sure if it's going to be February the 10th or February the 14th, but I think it's a month after that they can start to trade. There's 99% certainty that this is going to happen. 99% certainty that this is going to happen. So that's number one, and that's within 2 weeks of the start of the year. So Ethereum's network is going to be upgraded with the Dencun upgrade. This is the first quarter of 2024, and this talks about proto-dank sharding. It helps with scalability and transactions. Sharding is something, for those of you who don't know, Vitalik Buterin is a massive World of Warcraft fan. Sharding is something that warlocks use in World of Warcraft. So a lot of the wordage around Ethereum actually comes from World of Warcraft. Little known fact for you. He was actually playing his warlock when he thought about sharding. So just put that into context of what a kind of Pikachu geek he actually is. So this basically allows the blocks to be broken up and processed in a different way. After that, there will be upgrades to Arbitrum 1, Optimism, and Base that will allow them to become cheaper. Now, cheaper doesn't mean better. Cheaper means less revenue, remember. So although Ethereum will still be able to pump out its validator rewards and whatever, the layer 2s could suffer in terms of their revenue model, and that could reduce their prices. Remember that if Ethereum becomes cheaper, why would you use a layer 2? Now, the top layer 2, as we talked about, is Matic. So Matic I don't think is going to lose out because it has its own ecosystem, slowly but surely being built out. But the newer layer 2s could suffer. So just bear that in mind. So it will also provide other benefits for Ethereum users, including optimized block space, reduced data storage costs, improved cross-chain communication, and enhanced security. Now, one of the things that annoys me to death is the cost of transferring from Ethereum to, for example, Arbitrum 1. I'm moving it from a layer 1 to a layer 2. The cost is astronomical. If I want to move $100, I'm lucky to get $85, $90 out of that transaction. It's difficult to do, and it shouldn't be that expensive. It shouldn't be that expensive at all. But like I say, you reduce costs, you reduce revenue. Next, So we've got the Ethereum upgrade, we've got the spot Bitcoin ETF. The next is we have the interest rate hikes. Again, we've been talking about this. What happens when you reduce interest rates? You give people more money. How do people get more money? Because their mortgages cost less. Companies can borrow more money because the cost of borrowing falls. What can they do with that money? They can invest it in new technology, in new staff. It kickstarts the economy. We've had to stall the economy to bring down inflation to a point, 2.3%, 2.4%, whatever it is now. So now we can take the foot off the economy and we can start to put money back in. Interest rates are going to come down. I think they're going to come down from March. Some people say April, some people say February. Nobody really knows. I'm going for March because it's the end of Q1. And what we don't want to do is we don't want to contract the economy and we don't want to go into deflation. And to avoid going into deflation, you put more money into the system, which then increases demand. That's how we get around, and that'll keep the prices where we are now. So interest rate hikes coming down, fantastic. Circle IPO. Now, Circle is one of the two major stable coins. You've got USDC, USDT. USDC is going to have its IPO next year. Lots of people ask me, how do you make money out of stable coins if you own stable coins? Very simply put, Tether has $91 billion in cash and it's issued $91 billion worth of USDT. So it's backed 1 for 1, but they don't sit on a bank account that has $91 billion in it. They will take 70, 80, $85 billion of that and buy treasury bills with the US government that will pay them, for argument's sake, 3%. 3% of 91 billion is $2.7 billion a year interest. So Tether makes $2.7 billion a year in money. That's how stable coins work. So we're not going to talk too much about that. That's just one of those things. Why does that pops out like that? 1 second, my screen seems to have gone really wonky. There we go. Right, where are we? So the Bitcoin halving we know about. April next year, Bitcoin halving. The amount of Bitcoin being produced is halved. What that means is, very simply, there will be 50% less sell pressure from miners next year. Plus, with the reduction in the amount of Bitcoin being produced, it reduces the amount of Bitcoin being available and in turn pushes the demand up because there's just not enough supply. You couple that with the ETF and we could have a huge supply shock. It could go to $200,000 by the end of next year. We don't know, but I haven't got time now but to look at the charts to show you just how few Bitcoin there are left. I think there's 1.2 million left on exchanges. Sounds a lot until you realize that potentially 200,000 of those are going to be eaten up by the ETFs. That's maybe 20% of the supply gone within 6 months. So there's not enough Bitcoin. And once we get below 1 billion Bitcoin on exchanges, that will hit the news, that will cause FOMO, that will bring retail in, and that's where we should start to see real pumping in price. FTX case nearing resolution. This is more to do with the fact that they've got lots of assets to sell off. There's going to be an FTX2, which I would strongly advise you to ignore. And hopefully, certain people will get their just desserts from this. And the road to the next crypto bull market. So we're going to get the ETFs, the upgrades. I don't want to use this term just yet, the super cycle. It's a buzzword that everybody's now starting to use. I just want to see a normal cycle. A normal cycle with massively increased demand and massively reduced supply is what I want to see. The one thing that's missing from this is the fact that Ethereum is proof of stake in this bull run. It was proof of work in the last bull run. What that means is there's less Ethereum today than there was in January. And there'll be less Ethereum in December next year than there is today. It's a deflationary asset. That, for me, is not priced into Ethereum. Ethereum's going to have a cracking run, $10,000, $12,000, $13,000. I think it will move up. The Bitcoin Ethereum pair, I think, will flip. I think Ethereum could potentially become 0.08 or 0.09 of a Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes to $200,000, we could see a $16,000 Ethereum. All possible. Now, we're not going to read any more about these things. All I will say is that everything next year is lined up to have a great 2024. I can't see why we're not going to have that. Now, before we move on, very quickly, because we've run out of time, when do we not run out of time? We're going to say goodbye to the non-crypto exchange. Sorry, the